is in the books. We had a great piece of action. Obviously, I apologize already because the featured matchup last week was me against Vic Paredes. We have a heated rivalry. I decided to protest his league this year. A lot of drama. He had his video last year, if you remember, about his decision to stay in the league. So I figured as commissioner I would take on this reject of a player last week in our featured matchup, and I scored the most points in the league, and Vic scored the least points in the league, making him the biggest loser of a featured matchup in 2015. This week's featured matchup. I didn't do this on purpose. I promise I'm not in every featured matchup. But the featured matchup this week is me versus the team of Brent Bridges and Chris Alvarez. Now, today is Saturday, and we have already had our Thursday night game. So I had Jeremy Macklin. He had Jamal Charles. As you guys probably know, Jamal Charles fumbled everything, but still put up 14 points. Jeremy Macklin only put up an abysmal 5 points for me. But I have faith in the rest of my team as Jeremy Macklin is my flex player. A couple other things about the matchups this week. Also, I had an exclusive interview. I got a chance to run into Joe Gianosa and Jameson Jones, two of our players that have been in this league since the beginning. I got a chance to interview them, and you guys are going to see an excerpt of that interview a little bit later. But just a couple other matchups of this week. We've got Matt Ernst versus Jacob Allen. This is actually a pretty good matchup. This is basically the battle of the ex-Cutco assistant managers. I'm not quite sure who I care wins this one. My guess is that Jacob Allen would probably win. As far as the next matchup, my favorite matchup is anyone that plays Nate. As you guys remember from last year, Nate had the most points against by a huge margin. And he texted me right before the Thursday night game and said, I'm excited this year that I'm not going to have the most points against. And then Joseph Waltz, the guy who he's playing, had Peyton Manning, Broncos defense, and Emmanuel Sanders put up 64 points combined. I just can't help but laugh. Plus, Joey has the best name in the league, which is ASL Pick, for those of you that used to frequent the AOL chat room. So I'm going to give that victory to Joseph Waltz. Next matchup, this is actually why we had a good exclusive interview. Joe Gianosa versus Jameson Jones, battle of two buddies. Jameson's the best man at Joe's wedding, and this should be a good one. I'm going to say I give the edge to Joe Gianosa. I just like his team better despite his draft grade of F. Yes, remember that. So I'm going to give that one to Joe. Obviously, you guys are going to hear some stuff from that match, so I want to talk more about it. We've got Morris Tomachoff and Avery Estrada. Keep in mind that Morris Tomachoff was given the highest draft grade in our league, and he's 0-1, scoring off against Avery Estrada, who's also 0-1. So we've got two 0-1 teams. It looks like a pretty even matchup. We'll see what happens. Tom Schroeder versus Vic Paredes is the other one. Another two 0-1 teams facing off. I would probably say Tom wins this one. I mean, Tom drafted Adrian Peterson, so we'll see if Adrian has a bounce-back week. All right, now to get to the good stuff. All you've been waiting for is the interview with Joe Gianosa and Jameson Jones. So here it goes. We'll see you next week.
If I had Amir Abdullah, it would be Abdullah Oblongata.
Okay, how do I edit my team?
You press edit team.
I'm sitting here, squeeze in, two undefeateds, 1-0 facing off against each other this week. Joe, what are your initial thoughts about going up against one of your good
Mike
buddies?
Wallace or Eric Decker?
Decker!
And against Cincinnati.
What does Marcellus Wallace look like? Does he look like a bitch?
Pulp Fiction, you're fired. All right.
So, Joe, what are your initial thoughts about going up against such a skilled opponent in Jameson Jones this week?
Well, for someone whose name has been Tijuana Fish Tacos for the last almost decade.
That's true, Jameson. You've literally never changed your team name.
I'm not that worried. Plus, our head-to-head matchup, I actually win those 80% of the time. So I'm actually dominating.
Is that a real statistic?
It's a real statistic.
No, it's not.
That I made up.
It's like 47% of the time is.
No, I've definitely always beat you.
In case all of you are wondering, Jen actually is about to marry this guy. So,
Terrible
Yeah,
decision.
I'm actually losing weight right now.
He just ate like a 3-pound hamburger.
Hey, if
Wait.
there's lettuce on it, it's a salad.
There's still some fried cheese left.
So Jameson, how do you feel about going up against one of your good friends, Joe?
Well, I love this. You know, I'm just disappointed that I'm gonna be out of town this weekend, so I can't watch it like with Joe, because just seeing his frustration and like you know, just every single play on every game, it's there's always some implications. So it's always fun to see.
Yeah, Joe, you do get very angry and excited. You're very emotional during football. Let's talk about that.
I have a problem because I'm a Lions fan.
I don't understand.
I've been trained to give false hope my whole life, and so I just have hope, and then it gets completely diminished, and so I'm angry.
Gotcha.
Kind of like how you beat me in the second to last round of the playoffs.
Semifinals.
I changed my mind. You should play Rivers.
So wait,
Why don't you tell everyone how that happened?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like I had Mark Ingram on my team,
Yep,
and I feel like I had Alshon Jeffrey on my team,
yep,
and I want to say it was the Monday night game,
yep,
and there was 2 minutes left,
yep.
and the Saints were up by a lot.
A lot.
And Joe, you were up on me in the fantasy matchup by a lot.
Over 20 points.
Over 20 points. And the only way that anything could happen is Ingram had to get loose on a burning clock run.
Yeah.
And he happened to break a tackle and scamper for 40 yards
For a touchdown.
into the end zone. And there's about a minute and 30 seconds left. A minute and 30 seconds left, right? And I was down by about 8 points. And I had Alshon Jeffrey and Jay Cutler, and the Bears were down by at least 47 points.
It was Jay Cutler.
And Jay Cutler decided to throw a garbage time touchdown to none other than number 17, Alshon Jeffrey. And I remember texting you like just a ha 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 text, and you threw your phone so hard that it came through my phone and hit me.
Yep. Jay Cutler. The only team Jay Cutler disappointed all year was mine last year. And I would have won the championship game,
Right.
so that
Because we would have faced off against a joke of a guy, Jacob Allen.
Friars. Next one, we have Nate Langley versus Joseph Waltz. D's nuts, no Romo versus age, sex, location, pick, question mark.
That's not what it is. It's ASL pick.
Age, sex, location.
Yeah, it's total chat room.
Yeah, okay. So when we look at this matchup, all right, right now, Nate,
Based on team name, who do you pick in this one?
Joey's team.
yeah, easily Joey's team. But
Cool, let's move on.
so when we look at the next matchup, we got Tom versus Vic.
Tom.
Hashtag Des caught it, which he didn't. And the Quebec Rogue Hunters. Rogue Hunters. Bonjour, madame.
A play off of the famous name that I chose 2 years ago.
Now, Tom is favored again. He was favored in our matchup last week, and then
Against
ended
you.
up losing
Against you.
massively. And then he's favored again. Vic can maybe.
Vic's team is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's an average team. It's an average team. It's just not looking great.
Oh, Vic's team is
If I had to
absolutely
pick,
horrible.
I'm going to take Tom in that matchup as well.
Yeah.
Close matchup for sure. Who do you got? Who do you got in this one?
You know what? I think, as I'm looking here, I think I'm gonna take Morris Tomachoff's team.
You can never take small teeth. Are you calling Morris Tomachoff a bandwagon Seahawks fan?
I'm just saying he's been a faithful fan since
2011.
2000. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's true. It's terrible.
Gotcha.
Sunday night, I think Seattle's gonna have a huge game against the Packers.
I
Hey,
unfortunately.
why
I
did
think
you
it's
look
gonna
at
be a
him
really high
sexually when you
scoring.
said the word huge?
We're done.
That's
Good luck
it?
this guy this week. Yeah. You got anything else?
No.
All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that riveting interview. Look forward to next week's video where we interview most points against Nathan Langley. Have a good Sunday.
Yeah.
By the way, you need to change your team name to Abdullah Oblongata.
Yeah.
Immediately.